Hello and welcome to this new project that I'm starting, experimental learning, which will basically be me trying out new and different unconventional study techniques in hopes that they will actually lead to help you study better and learn in a way you didn't think was possible before. So I thought a lot about what I would do for the first episode, and what came to mind was basically how to get started, because that can be hard in itself, as this is a learning process for me as well, experimenting in different ways. I don't want to be a teacher, but then I just want us to help each other. So if I make any mistakes or if I make any mispronunciations or anything, just let me know and I'll try to adapt and get better at it, because I want to learn as well. But now, how to get started? So my advice for this would be starting with learning the Korean alphabet, Hangül. A good way to learn it is by using romanization, because it takes a letter and the sound you already know and connects it with something you didn't know before, and all of a sudden you know how this is pronounced. So you've learned the letter and now you learn the pronunciation as well. The most commonly used romanization that I see floating around is the English one, which is basically using all the letters of the English alphabet, which is very logical considering how big English is. However, using the English language does have one flaw, and that is the fact that the English alphabet doesn't include all that many letters. Not by far as many as the Korean does, which means it also doesn't include all the sounds that the Korean alphabet has. If we take as example my first language, Swedish, we have the English alphabet as well as 3 more letters. These 3 sounds do not exist in the English language, but they exist in the Korean language, as well as in many other languages as well. Because the sounds in the Korean language aren't just unique to the Korean language, but they are in many other languages as well. But since we're using the English romanization, they can be quite hard to romanize, because here you have several sounds that do not have a corresponding letter in English, they do not have a corresponding sound in English. This has led to these letters being romanized in the way of 2 or even sometimes more letters, which, as it is only one letter in Hangul, only one character, it makes the romanization unnecessarily long, and it can also be quite confusing in the way that it can often lead to misunderstanding and subsequently mispronunciation of the word. Because here you have 2 letters that you know have different sounds, and all of a sudden you're supposed to put them together to make a new sound, which isn't all that easy, because you have it in your head already that these are 2 sounds. And also they're used for other Hangul characters, these separately, so it does get quite confusing. I know this has led to some people actually not recommending romanization at all, just dismissing it completely because this confusion it leads to. However, I think that's wrong, because I think romanization is very good in the way it does help you identify something unknown for you to something that you already know. I don't think it should be dismissed because it has flaws in a way when you venture out into unknown land, as it is learning a completely new language. You need something familiar to get you started. So I think romanization is a good link between those 2. So what should we do about this flaw in romanization? Well, my answer is actually to make your own romanization. So I did my own. It actually started a few years ago when I made a video for JYJ Sweden, romanized version of Shia Jins's Tarantelegra. Although this song might not have been the best thing to romanize, because it includes a lot of words and quite long ones, with or without romanization. I called it Swedish-German romanization back then. I'm not exactly sure what I should call my romanization when it's my romanization. It's based, of course, off the English one, because I didn't want to change it completely, because I think the English one is really good. It's just the flaw that it doesn't have enough characters to fully romanize Hangul. I therefore used several letters present in other alphabets beside the English one to make this. Some of these might be new to you, or they're not, depending on which languages you speak. Because even though the letter itself might be new, you might actually know the pronunciation. It just might be written with another letter in your language. So my point of this was to be able to make one Hangul character into one romanized letter. In a very few cases there were of course two letters, for example when it's sounds that are written for us in two letters, for example sh sound or ng sound, which should be and are always written in two letters. But that's because when we see those two letters together, we know exactly what sound that should make. So it's nothing odd to have that sound or have that character be two letters. So in this romanization that I've done, I've included 4 new characters that are not present in the English alphabet. They are pronounced as O, E, Ö, Y. To the first one, O, to give an example of a name I've mispronounced myself because I trusted the romanization too much, Uyong. Yes. So as you can see, I've changed the first part of the name as well. You can see all those changes below. However, these 4 letters are the only new ones I'm introducing. I've changed some of the romanization, but these are the only new letters, so I don't have more new letters than those 4. So Uyong, which I mispronounced for quite a long time, yes. And second one, E, Temin. I've actually heard people mispronounce this as A instead of E, like Temin instead of Temin, which is, again, not that easy to pronounce when the letters are several instead of one. Then you don't really know how to pronounce it, but it's E. So the third one, is actually not that common, but it is included in one of the most common surnames, Choi, or well, it's not pronounced Choi, it's pronounced Choi. Yes, because it's not O-I, it's A, it's Che. Che. Yes. And the last one, I. I'm going to take the dancer of Suju. Yuk. So as it's usually romanized with E and U, that's not it. It's I, Yuk. So it's I, Yuk. So a good way to start with this would actually be to take your absolute favorite K-pop song and then find the Hangul for it. And then take this romanization, or if you want to make your own, and then start writing down everything while you're listening to it. Because then you know exactly, use your ears, listen to it at the same time, pause and write down, using this romanization as well as using your ears, because that's the most important thing. Understand what it is you're hearing, so that you can properly connect it to the romanized one, and then eventually you will be able to see the Hangul character and know the sound. I hope you learned from this. So thank you so much for watching, and look forward to my next project. I promise I won't be here sitting talking to the camera constantly. This is just the first episode, but I wanted to give like the basic start so that I can do more crazy stuff later on. So yes, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and I do hope this helped. again, if I made any mistakes, just let me know, or if you have any recommendations what I can do with these episodes in the future, do let me know that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Bye! So in this new romanization, I've added 4